IT comes from the pipes. I never thought a simple plumbing problem could ruin a person's life. At first, it seemed like a small thing. I moved into this apartment cheaply, too cheap for the neighborhood. An old building, concrete walls, narrow hallways, an elevator that creaked as if it was constantly deciding whether to take you or not. The landlady said, "Sometimes there are problems with the pipes. An old building, you know." I nodded. Well, pipes are pipes. Who doesn't have them? I had no idea she meant something completely different. First symptoms. It all started a week later. First, the smell. Not a regular sewer smell. Not just unpleasant. It was strange, like a mixture of damp, rot, and something sweet. I opened the window. It didn't help. I checked the bathtub. Clean. The sink. Same. But when I leaned over the drain, the smell intensified, and it seemed to me like a draft coming from there. Cold air. I even laughed. A draft in the pipe? Seriously? But even then, I felt a little uneasy. Sounds. A couple of days later, sounds appeared. At night. At first, I thought it was the neighbors. Quiet knocks, like someone was knocking on the pipes. Then a rustling sound. And then, like something sliding on metal, slowly, with effort. I stood up and walked to the bathroom. Silence, just the drip of the faucet. I was about to leave when suddenly, glump, a deep sound from the pipe, as if something inside had turned over. I froze. "Just air," I said out loud. But that night I slept with the light on. First problem. In the morning, the sink wouldn't drain at all. The water stood still, cloudy, and floating in it were small black particles, like sand or earth. I tried unclogging it, but it didn't help. I called a plumber. A man of about 50 came. He looked. He inserted the drain cable, and suddenly he stopped. "Listen," he said, "you've got something weird here." "What do you mean?" "It's like, not a clog." "What?" He didn't answer. He just abruptly pulled the drain cable out. There was something black on it. Not dirt. And not hair. Something. Like a wet cloth. But it moved. I recoiled. "What's that?" He looked at it for a few seconds. Then he wiped the cable on a rag. "It happens. Old pipes." And he left faster than he came. A night I will never forget. That night, I woke to a sound. Not a knock. Not a gurgle. But breathing. Quiet. Intermittent. I lay and listened. The sound was coming from the bathroom. Slowly, almost inaudibly. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. I turned on the flashlight on my phone. I went there. The door was ajar. I pushed it and froze. Steam was rising from the sink, cold, and from the drain. The sound of breathing. I walked closer. The light from my phone illuminated a black hole. And suddenly, something inside reacted to the light. My breathing stopped. And then, from the depths of the pipe, looked at me. Eyes. I don't know how to explain it. They weren't just eyes. They were too far away, and too close at the same time, as if the space inside the pipe was deeper than it should be. And there was something. I recoiled, and at that moment, from the drain, slowly, a finger extended. Long, grey, too thin. It hovered over the edge for a second, and disappeared again. I screamed. No one believed it. I called the emergency services. They came. They looked. Everything's fine. Fine. There. You just have a blockage. We'll clear it. They took apart the trap and found nothing. Clean. Too clean. There was no smell. No sounds either. I looked crazy. Repeating. But it came back. Stronger. Now the sounds were during the day. Sometimes I heard whispering from the toilet. from the bathroom, from the kitchen. Not words, but attempts, as if it was learning to speak. Neighbor downstream. I decided to talk to the neighbor downstairs. He opened the door. He looked at me for a long time. Too long. You too? He asked. My insides went cold. Pipes. He nodded. How long have you lived here? A week. He grinned. I had 2 months. I'm moving out. What is it? He leaned closer, and he whispered, It's rising. Truth. He told me that this house used to have an emergency sewer. Old, deep, and at some point, a collapse occurred there. People died, but not all were found. Some stayed inside, in the pipes, under the house. Deep, very deep. Last night, I was about to move out, packed my things, went to bed, and woke up with the feeling of someone nearby. I opened my eyes and saw, in the corner of the room, a wet trail. It stretched from the bathroom towards my bed. I slowly turned my head and saw a hand. It was crawling out from under the bed. The same one, long, grey, and she slowly crawled toward me. She did not stop. I jumped up. I ran to the door, but it didn't open. A sound came from the bathroom, loud, like something crawling through a narrow space. I turned around and saw, rising from the toilet, it, not a human. It was elongated, too long, too thin, skin like wet cloth. Its face, if you can call it that, was distorted, and its eyes, those same ones, from the pipe. It looked at me and smiled. The last thing I heard, it bowed its head and whispered in a broken, hoarse voice, You are leaking. Pause. Me. After. They found me 2 days later. The apartment was flooded, but not with water, with a black liquid, like sludge. They didn't find me. Only footprints leading to the bathroom and further down the drain. Now, right now in this apartment,